Morning, everyone. It is March 28th, 2018. This is Virgo Triad, and I hope everyone's having a good morning so far. Okay, so today's video was actually going to be about why and when you would need to authenticate a birth certificate. However, I've gotten so many requests with wanting information about your uh, all caps name on your birth certificate that I decided to replace the authentication video and do it later in the week and go ahead and show everyone why it is that your birth certificate has all caps letters. Now, your gurus are telling you, or the gurus have been telling everyone, that it's because the all caps letter makes you a corporation, and you're a slave to the debts, and so on and so forth. But that is simply not true. There's a much more um, realistic reason behind why your birth certificates and the majority of your bills and your credit cards and everything that you get from a corporation or a government entity is in all caps letters. It's really very simple. And when you hear why and you see the proof that I have of this, I think it's going to snap in place for a lot of you. And for those of you that already, have decided that you understand that this is not something that's real that's going around with regards to these trusts and TDA accounts and all this other garbage, this is just going to be additional information for you to have that you might not have been aware of. All right, so where we're going to start with this is way back at the first half of the century. We're going to start before 1950. Now, you may have seen on a lot of these gurus' comment sections people that are older, usually in their 60s, maybe late 50s, 60s, and 70s, that are typing in comments that are saying, I don't understand. My birth certificate shows that I have upper and lowercase. What does that mean? I wasn't made a corporation? What's the deal with that? And the gurus will tell you that no, that means that you have your original certificate of live birth. And what they're referring to is your birth certificate. Okay, first of all, that is splitting hairs entirely. Let me explain to you what it is that you would get in the first half of the century, um, that would come to you from the nurse after you had a child. Okay, the first thing that you would get would be um, the application. You would fill out the application. Now, on the application, this is another thing that has stemmed a whole bunch of conspiracies. It states that they want to know the name of the child. Of course, the date of birth is already known. And then in the mother's section, it says informant. Okay, the reason that it says informant, you guys, is because it's the person informing them. The person informing them. I am informing you that yes, my child's name is, this is what I wish for my child's name to be. I am informing you that this is the father. Let's face it, they're not sitting there doing DNA tests unless you request them for some reason, like proving you are not the father. Okay, they are trusting the mother to write down the appropriate information. You are informing them that you are indeed showing that this is the father and this is the child's name that you chose. Okay, so that is the reason why it says informant. It is not because you've become an informant to the CIA, which I have heard, or you have become a government informant, or you are selling your child to the state. That is not the case at all. It says informant for one reason and one reason only, because you are the person, as the mother, who is informing the state what you want the name to be and who the father is. Okay. After that application is done, A certificate is brought in that is what we will call a memories certificate. And really all that it is a handwritten certificate or maybe typed up certificate that has the baby's footprints on the back of it, or some of them on the front of it, has the baby's name, and you are informed at that point that you will be given the actual birth certificate and social security card for that child by mail. That information will be forwarded to you by the Vital Statistics Office. Now, there's a very good reason for that, and that is because that birth certificate needs to be entered into the database. The reason that you have a child's social security card is so that in the event that you are someone who needs to have a social security card on file for your child in order to do anything, whether it be traveling for the child, whether it be getting WIC for the child, whether it be getting any kind of government assistance for the child, you would need to have that piece of information. It also identifies the child at the doctor's office. Several different things it will do for you, and they encourage you to get that then. However, you do not have to get the Social Security card then. Okay? My grandchild, my last grandchild, was just born in 2016. Didn't get the Social Security card then. Waited 2 years to get it, as a matter of fact. Just got it a few days ago. So the state is forcing you and pressuring you at the hospital to get a Social Security. Yes, they will encourage you, but you're not forced to. All right. It took 13 days for my grandson's birth certificate to show up in the mail from the Vital Statistics Office. In the meantime, in case my daughter needed to take my grandson anywhere, she had the certificate that was provided to her, which is the memory certificate, that had my grandson's feet put on the back of them so that it could be hung in a frame and look cute and everything in the baby book. Okay, that was just something that was provided out of courtesy. Not all hospitals provide that anymore, but way back when we're talking about, they did it 2 different ways. One way was if they were being typed up there at the hospital, which in some states, that is how they handled it. They typed up your birth certificate, upper and lower case, and put the feet on the back of that certificate. It was a smaller certificate, handed it to you, and that was what you could use. And they would, from that point forward, send the second copy of what they had typed up to Vital Statistics. That is how it was handled back prior to the 50s. Now, those certificates, for people that have those certificates, are going to show upper and lower case, and that's the reason why you would actually have seen some of those things in a comment. All right, now we get to the 50s, and we are getting into the beginnings of the age of technology. When it comes to government entities and any corporations whatsoever, they're looking for ways to maintain a database of a very large amount of people that makes it easier for things to be kept. One of the very first things that IBM did was make a machine called Fortran. And a Fortran machine was used in order to enter into mainframe computers that all corporations had and all government entities had. All right, so as you can see, I've got here until the mid-1970s, this is how Fortran was entered into mainframe computers via perforated cards created by a card punch machine with a keyboard. Note in the picture I'm getting ready to show you the lack of a shift key. Lowercase did not exist for the purpose of the Fortran. Now, Fortran did these, and I know some of you have seen these at garage sales and so on and so forth. There were boxes and boxes and boxes, and this is all kinds of different data that were put on these Fortran cards. It's an 80-column punch card, and it would tell the computer For those of you that know anything about basic computer coding, you've got 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay, this is the card that got fed into the mainframe machines on each individual customer or each individual baby that was born or each individual credit card holder that got fed into the mainframe machine in order to withhold a database that could withhold lots and lots and lots of people's information. All right, as you can see, it's got the name Joseph K. Huffman up here. And it differs based on the county and the state, and that's why there's a sector and a couple of different numbers or section and different couple numbers up here, because this is an actual birth certificate Fortran statement. This is an IBM 029 card punch machine keyboard. All right, you've got your little dots up here, which are your little, not dots, but your little levers up here, which would create the punches. And here is the keyboard. Now you'll notice that you've got your lettering, you have your, and your numbering, which is on it. You have your symbols, and you have a machine over here, or you have a button over here that gives you that you push it and it turns into the alphabet. And you have another number over here, or another button over here that you use in order to change it to the symbols that are on the top here of the numbers. You do not have a shift key. There was no such thing as upper lower case. Now, this was introduced and used from the 50s, late 40s, all the way up through in some counties of some states. They were still using it in 2003. After 2004, everybody switched over to main computer systems. And they maintained the database in the same manner. They went ahead and left the database as all uppercase. And the reason why is what I told you before with regards to having a name like McDonald. That small c that's in there is going to change the order of the database from what it should be. They didn't want that happening. So when they merged the original mainframe computer punch card information with information that is current on current computer systems, they left it in all uppercase, which makes complete sense from the standpoint of making a query. For those of you that know anything about making databases and running queries in databases, which is what you guys do every day in Google, for anybody who's got any knowledge in what it takes to maintain a database, this will make sense to you. Having the small c in there would have changed the order into a non-properly alphabetized order if it had not maintained the uppercase. So they did. It is simply that simple, guys. Now, certificate of live birth versus birth certificate. Like I said, splitting hairs. Here's the reason why. They're both exactly the same thing. Now, these gurus are telling you that they're not the same thing, that one you got and one you never got to see. Not true. If you didn't get to see it, it was because you had already had the original in your hands. Because the minute that you request a new birth certificate, the only thing that's going to change on it may be the appearance of the security paper, which, by the way, both are on, except for the one that's the memory one, which is the one that you get if the hospital offers it with the footprints on the back of it. That goes in an album and is not used as an authenticated birth certificate. The reason why your certificate of live birth, or your birth certificate, which is the same thing, is taken at DMVs when you get a driver's license for the first time, or change your name, or it's accepted at a travel's office for a passport, is because of the stamp, which authenticates the birth certificate. Now, you can be authenticated at a state level or a federal level, and all these different things that you've been told by the gurus, and I'll go into that in another video. But your birth certificate, if it comes from a vital statistics office, is already authenticated. This is as simple as it is, you guys. This is the only reason why your birth certificates are in all caps. Now, you can look up all this information. All of it is readily available. You just have to look for this, the information that is on the Fortran machine. I'm going to go ahead and link this into the description for you so you can take a look at these photos for yourself. This is off of Quora.com. It was the only place I could find a large enough photo of the punch card and the actual Fortran machine for you to see that there wasn't a shift key. And that is the reason I use this. But if you want to look at the photos, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they are listed in the description below. You will see that the person who actually put this information out there is a previous Fortran programmer. Fortran is a programming language that was used for the early mainframe computers for the perforated cards. I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem asking any questions that you've got about this. But the truth is, your birth certificates and all other things that come from corporations that were corporations that had mainframe computers back in the day, they all used this Fortran programming language. Simply no shift key. They were punch cards. And that is the story as to why you were not made a corporation. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and everybody have a great day. Bye-bye.